Hey guys, welcome to another vlog type video. Normally you'll see me doing these videos and I come along and say, oh right, so here's where we are with 8th Doctor Series 3. I've edited about this much and I've still got this much to film and there's probably going to be another few months before it gets out yet. And, no, I don't have to say these things because it's out there. The series has been and gone. It's all over. And if you haven't seen it, then go watch it. Please do. Please have a little look. I have put the full playlist in the description below. But this video is going to be a little talkback video. If you're a member of my Facebook group, you will have seen that I asked people to send in their questions about the series. Obviously, when the comments were coming back for each video, I could see that there were a few common questions popping up, and a lot of those questions were asked from Facebook as well. So I'm going to be answering a few of those. I'm sorry if I don't answer all of them. A few of them were the same, so people asked the same thing. Some things weren't quite as relevant as others, so there were a lot. So I'm just going to skim through and answer a few key questions. So before we begin that, just a few things to get out of the way regarding the series. So, of course, a lot of you will remember that the whole scenario with this series and the reason why it was so heavily delayed was because there was a whole accident with my external hard drive, and Kat very kindly helped set up a GoFundMe account. She sorted it all out for me, and you guys were incredibly kind enough to donate money to help me get the footage back that I thought I'd lost. And because of you guys, the series happened. If it wasn't for you, there would have been no series. So a huge, massive thank you to everyone who did donate, because you made it possible. You wouldn't have been watching anything for the past couple of years with these 8th Doctor stories scattered around. So a massive thank you once again. I can't thank all of you enough. For some of you, of course, you donated a certain amount, which meant that as a thank you, you get a DVD. Now, the DVD features all of the episodes from Series 3. Now, I know it's been a very long time since I've mentioned this. Well, I'm actually burning the DVDs now. I wanted to wait because I didn't want the DVDs going out until after the series had come out. So, they are being sorted as we speak, or being burnt as we speak. So this is one. This is actually disc 1. It's going to be 3 discs. 3 discs per person. More than I anticipated, and that's just because the episodes are a lot longer this year, and there's so many of them. So disc 1 will be the first half of Series 3, like it aired. The second disc will be the second half, up until the final days, and then disc 3 will include the dreams of the Doctor and a few extra little bits and pieces as bonuses for you. And so, unfortunately, they will only be coming like this. They're not going to be in anything special, no boxes, no covers, no disc art, anything like that. The reason for that is, of course, is to escape legal gubbins with the BBC. Obviously, these are not for sale, so before anyone turns around to me and says, can I buy a DVD? No, I'm not actually selling DVDs. Nor have I ever sold the DVDs. These DVDs are being given as gifts to people who donated to the GoFundMe account. And of course, some of you donated enough that you are actually producers. So a huge thank you to all of our additional producers who are popping up at the end of each video throughout the series. So a massive thank you to all of you as well. So once I have some more info on those DVDs, I will let everyone know. Probably another video or something, and say, right, I'm sending them out. So if you have changed your address, and I do know who you are because I've got all your contact details, maybe leave a comment below and I'll try and get in contact with you somehow. Yeah, so I've played them and they come out alright, they look quite nice. There is a bit of chop on this side, sadly, of the screen. Not sure why. It doesn't really matter. It's only on the credits. And if you're a producer, all your names are fine. So if you're a producer and you're worried that, oh, hang on, they've chopped my names off the sides on the credits, don't worry, you're not. You're all fine. It's mainly my name because my name's so bloody long. So it comes out as like Atthew Toffol. But never mind. Another thing that I'm going to mention just before answering the questions, people have been asking me, Doctor Who, so what's next? 9th Doctor series. no Ninth Doctor series, I'm afraid. That was never the plan. So if any of you are expecting a Ninth Doctor series, I'm afraid not. If any of you were expecting more Doctor Who animations, no, there are going to be no more Doctor Who animations for the foreseeable future. And when I say foreseeable future, that could be a long time. It just depends. And the reason for this is, I mean, this was meant to be my very, very last series ever. And it's taken me 2 years nearly to make this series, 13 episodes. So if I ever did return, I would never do a big series like that again, because it was madness. Nearly killed me. And I had help, if it wasn't for Chris Clark and all of his incredible CGI effects, I'd still be here today trying to make it work and trying to work out ways of making the ships and stuff blow up. Which would just have been laughable. So massive thank you to Chris for all of his hard work. He's just been absolutely incredible throughout all of this, and I know I speak on behalf of all of you when you applaud his incredible work. So yes, no Ninth Doctor series. So Doctor Who animations, well, like proper action figure adventures, animations, there might be some little thing coming soon I might be playing around with. Not a proper adventure or anything, it's just like a little short thing that I want to mess around with, particularly to do with the William Hartnell Big Chief figure that I got not long ago. Review for that is up now if you're interested. And yes, so animation wise, I need a break from Doctor Who animations, because 2 years of just doing 8th Doctor stuff, it's nearly killed me. So it's going to be quiet on Doctor Who action figure adventure stuff. However, Doctor Who itself is not being quiet on this channel, because Doctor Who is a main part of this channel. It would be madness to suddenly say no more Doctor Who. So action figure reviews still happening. Like I said, First Doctor, Big Chief, that's out now. Lots of new little things coming out. What reviews have I got coming up? 3 3/4 inch figures. So, the 10th Doctor, which came out last year, I've only just got it. The new Spin and Fly TARDIS, Peter Capaldi's version, and two of the Dalek Collector sets, the Children of the Revolution set and the Dalek Invasion of Earth set. So I'll be reviewing those, and in March we've got Big Chief's alternate 4th Doctor head, and if there's any 5-inch figures coming out for Doctor Who, nothing's been announced. But if anything does come out, hopefully a 5-inch Peter Capaldi, please. If anything does come out, then of course I will be reviewing it here. So Doctor Who reviews, still happening. My reviews with Billy, they're coming back. You should expect one of those very soon. We've got a few of those coming up that will be happening throughout the next month or so. So that is still there. So lots of Doctor Who content is going to be coming up, and of course there's going to be some new content coming to the channel. There's going to be a He-Man and the Masters of the Universe animated pilot. It's a one-off video that I'm doing. This is what I wanted to do instead of Doctor Who, because I've been doing Doctor Who for so long. I wanted to do something different. It's a one-off episode of He-Man, probably be about 20 minutes long, something like that, like an episode of Doctor Who. And that will be coming out sometime this year, so that's going to be really fun. And I hope you all tune in for that, even if you're not really sure what the hell He-Man is all about. You might find it very interesting, you might find it fun. That's what I want it to be. I want it to be fun. It's not like dark and serious or anything like that. It's just fun. But yeah, I'm pleased. I'm pleased with it. I'm pleased with the script that I've written for it. I think it's quite fun. So there's that, and there's new reviews. By the time you watch this, there should be a He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. No, Masters of the Universe Classics review up. So I can't comment on how well that's done, but if it does do well, or if it is doing well, then there should hopefully be more of those coming throughout the next 12 months. And also reviews of the Batman animated series figures, which I have had since before Christmas, but I've reviewed them. I just need to find a space to actually upload them. So they're going to be coming very soon too. Right, let's get on to some of these questions to do with the 8th Doctor Series 3 stuff. So, let's see, start from the top. Billy Aratoon, I hope I pronounced your name right, Billy. He asks, what inspired you to add the references to the comics, the War Doctor and Big Finish in Miller and I? Well, that's a good question. Originally, the script had Lucy Miller in it. That was always the case. Let's go back a sec. The whole series was written way in advance of The War Doctor. Most of this series was written in, say, mid to late 2012, early 2012. So by the time The Name of the Doctor came along, in which we saw John Hurt at the end, and by the time The Day of the Doctor was aired and we actually found out John Hurt was the Doctor, the series had finished being written, but I'd finished writing it early 2013, and the series had started filming in early 2013, actually. Yeah, March 2013. So actually, I think I probably finished writing the scripts in 2012 and started, and sort of like the beginning of 2013, I was just sort of tweaking the scripts, you know, making sure that they flowed all right, and altered this, that, and the other, tidied them up a bit. So the original plan was always to have Lucy Miller in that story. And the reason being was because I always felt like it was kind of a shame that I had never pursued the whole Big Finish thing. When I started doing these Eighth Doctor adventures, I don't think I'd actually even listened to any Eighth Doctor stuff from Big Finish. I hadn't listened to much Big Finish stuff at all, which I have now remedied. I've listened to lots of Big Finish stuff, and I'm trying to get as many of them as I possibly can. I nearly have all of the Eighth Doctor CDs, bar 3, so that's a lot. It's taken me a while. I wanted to look into that, so that's why I thought, well, let's do the whole alternate universe thing. Because at that point, I thought that Big Finish was completely separate. I didn't think that the canonicity of Big Finish was the same canon as the TV series. Of course, The Night of the Doctor changes that, because in The Night of the Doctor he mentions all of his Big Finish companions, so it canonised the series. And since then, even Big Finish has gone on to say, thank you, Stephen Moffat, for making the series, for making our audios canon. At least the Eighth Doctor stuff, but of course so much of it intertwines. So it was always the idea, from my point of view, until The Night of the Doctor, that the TV series and the Big Finish audios were separate. So my series was always meant to be a continuation of the TV show. There was never any doubt of that. So the TV show and my series was one universe, then you had the Big Finish universe over here. And so that was only the reason why I wanted to do that. I wanted to look at Lucy Miller because she was my favourite of Paul McGann's companions at that time. Well, she still is. I love Lucy Miller. She's one of my favourite companions. So I really wanted to do that. I played on the fact, I called it Miller and I, because I was playing off the fact of With Nell and I, the other Paul McGann big thing, the great film, which is one of my favourite films. So I thought that was like a clever little twist. And I added in the stuff with Frobisher because I had a penguin toy from Batman Returns, and I thought, oh, that'd be quite neat, just to show all these different universes. And then I thought, well, I'll add in Richard E. Grant, and you'll have Christopher Eccleston, and that'll be that. So that was always the original plan. Of course, the War Doctor buggered that up completely, and I'm sure someone asks me that question later on about the War Doctor and stuff, and how that changed my plans. So yeah, it was really, so to answer your question in a shorter form, it was just because I really liked the companion. I couldn't incorporate her into the videos as part of this timeline because he'd never met her. He'd had adventures with Kathy Bradford and Emily Moore, so it wouldn't work that way. So that's why I set up the alternate timeline things, which of course eventually became that the Big Finish timeline was actually the same timeline as the TV timeline. So it just meant, it didn't really change anything that much. It just meant that the TV series and my series were separate. That was it. So, and you did ask about the War Doctor. The reason why I added the War Doctor in was because at that point I thought, well, we've got the figure, let's just add in a little wink to the War Doctor and say, oh look, there he is. But he's in a different timeline. The TV series is in a different timeline, because that was all I could do. There was no possible way that I could rewrite the whole series. Kenny Colliver I'm surprised that given how you added all the Big Finish references in Miller and I, you didn't add anything from the Peter Cushing films. Had that ever come to mind? Also, what outfit is your Lucy Miller custom based on? And would you do Big Finish stuff? Customs, stop motion, etc. Right, the reason why Peter Cushing didn't come to mind was I just thought it didn't come to mind. That was all. I really didn't think about adding any Peter Cushing stuff. It's the same with the Rowan Atkinson thing. That got thrown around a lot. Oh, why didn't you throw in Rowan Atkinson's Doctor? I guess the reason why was because they were more skits that wrote the Rowan Atkinson thing. It was more of a comedy thing. And the Doctor Who films, yeah, they were different again. You know, it was only really Scream the Shulker that was, you know, in the same vein as the TV series, I guess. So that was probably the reason why. That's the best answer I can give you. What outfit is Lucy Miller based on? Not any outfit, really. I just had a Martha Jones figure, and the head is from some woman from Primeval. Some people have said she looks like Liz Shaw, which when I look back, it does look quite like Liz Shaw. So, yeah. Why have you made her look like Liz Shaw, then? Well, you know, throw me a bone. I'm only working with what I've got. I'm not a master sculptor. Yeah, so it was just what I had, really. It wasn't really based on anything. Her hair, I think, was based off of Series 3. But in Series 3, she's got brown hair. But I don't like her with brown hair. I like her with blonde hair, so that's why I kept it blonde. Would I do Big Finish stuff? Customs? Stop motion? Yeah, I would. I'd love to. I would really love to. I'd love to do customs from Big Finish stuff. Like Molly O'Sullivan, like Charlie Pollard. Obviously, I've got Lucy now. All sorts, all the different aliens that are only on Big Finish, like the Eminence, and those other things that are also in Dark Eyes 2. They're called the Virons? Virons? Someone will correct me. But yeah, there's stuff that I would like to do. When that would ever happen, and if it would ever happen, I have no idea. But yeah, that would be fun. Let's see, what else have we got? Ed Jones. Would you ever try and do a live-action version of one of your 8th Doctor stories? My God, Ed, how? How would I do that? I would need a BBC budget. I would need a budget bigger than the BBC's to make some of these stories. I guess the one that would probably be the easiest to do would be Sirens of Axos, because it's all set on Earth. But even then, that would be hard. So no, I will never try. Mickey Wildman, he asks... Hello, Mickey. He asks, if Stephen Moffat saw your series and said to you that he would like to reference some of the events in the series in Future Who, what would you say back? Well, I think it's unlikely, but yeah, of course I would. I'd say, yeah, go on. But I want a credit, and I want to write a script for the series. Thank you. So that's what I would probably say. He'd probably tell me to bugger off. Matt Smith, not the Matt Smith, another Matt Smith, asks, which episode was the hardest to work on? Rise of the Time Lords. Without a shadow of a doubt. All of the that and Gates of Elysium, those were the two most difficult ones to do because of all the effects. Lots of laser gun effects. It was so much hard work. So much hard work. You know, rotoscoping each laser blast and animating it to go here, there and everywhere. Took a very, very long time. Mathieu Leader asks, unless it's Matthew Leader, but it looks French, so I'm going to say Mathieu. Do you have any ideas for original series outside of Doctor Who? That's actually something that I'm working on at the moment. It wouldn't be anything that would come on YouTube. No, well, I doubt it. Well, you never know. But that is something that I'm working on at the moment. That's why another reason why I wanted to take a break from Doctor Who is to develop some original script ideas, which Catherine is very kindly helping me with. So yeah, so there we go. James Neal asks, was it always your intention to kill Emily off? If so, why? Were you ever tempted to bring her back? Yes, she was always going to die. She always going to die. It was inevitable because I knew that she would die in the Time War somehow. And then as that developed, actually I think it came quite early on. I thought, well, why don't I kill her off and that be like the final straw? That's the straw that breaks the camel's back, really, for the 8th Doctor. yes, that was always the plan, and there was never any suggestion of ever bringing her back. So yeah, she was always going to die. Sorry, Emily. Michael Chapman asks, how did you decide what events you wanted to show? For instance, you showed the events that happened at the Gates of Elysium, but had a passing mention to the could-have-been king and his armies of meanwhiles and never-weres. So, yeah, why did I choose certain things and not other things? I just sort of felt that certain things are probably best kept a mystery. A lot of thinking went into this last series. A lot of thinking. I think I did the most planning for this series than anything I'd ever done. It was a lot of sitting down. I don't have it anymore, sadly. But I sat down and I had a pad of A4 and I wrote down step by step what would happen throughout the season. Even if the specifics of particular episodes weren't there, it was like a stepping stone guide of this would happen, that would happen, that would happen, and that would lead to that, which would lead to that, and that, da, da, da. So I knew I had a real indication of what was happening, and then when I came to write the stories, I knew, right, that needs to go in that story, and that needs to be in this story. So the Gates of Elysium, that all came about with the key to time business, because I thought, well, you've got these gates of Elysium, you know, what could be within these gates? And I thought, oh, well, what about the web of time? You know, this could be... It was all really based... The whole web of time thing dated back. I had this idea right back when I did the first series. So whenever that was, 2010? 11? 10? Something like that? A long time ago. And it was all based on an idea from an episode of X-Men. There was an episode of X-Men where they go to this thing called the Axis of Time. And it was like this sort of weird ethereal place with all these it's like in space, and there are all these sort of bridges of light, and I think there are all these doorways and things. And so that was the original idea. I thought, oh, maybe it could be something like that. You know, there was the whole idea was it was going to be something like that. And then as it went on, that became sort of more impractical, because I just thought it would be a lot of green screen work and it would just be very hard to do and make it look good. So that instead, and I thought, well, I don't want to call it the Axis of Time. So that's when it became the Web of Time, because they always refer to the Web of Time. And I thought, well, rather than actually going to this place, this other dimension where time is malleable or whatever, we would just have it as, you know, they can't quite get in. And then it was from there I thought, oh, well, you know, what could protect this thing? This is such an important thing. Oh, the Nightmare Child, that's a good idea. So I had that in. And what could open the gates? What do you need to open gates? Oh, a key. Key to time. And that was just how it worked. But yeah, the could have been king. The reason why I didn't show it was just because I thought some things should remain a mystery. Best not to show everything. So it was always meant to be a whistle-stop tour. And of course then, if I'd have done a story with the would have been king, that'd have been another episode to make. And you know, I've already done 13, and I had this new minisode. It was just been... the thing with this Time War stuff is you could have just gone on forever. You could have just gone on and on and on and on. And, you know, this could have been 3 series, the Time War. It could have been 8 series. It's that, you know, it's that epic a thing that it could just go on forever. Callum Morgan, would you do a spin-off series of the War Doctor in the near future, or any other spin-off series? No, I'm afraid not. No War Doctor stuff. I am sick of the Time War. I don't ever want to hear about the Time War ever again. Yeah, so Time War is done from my point of view. Dylan Blackman, my question is, Matthew, was it a challenge writing the series? Yes, it was a challenge. For a variety of reasons. One, because obviously I was trying to fit all these key events that got mentioned in all the Russell T Davies stories, like the Gates of Elysium and all that kind of stuff. And there were things that I knew had to happen, so I knew that the Master had to get a new body and go off into the Time War and disappear and then be met as Professor Yana in Utopia. So yes, it was challenging trying to fit all those things together and, you know, just really work out what the hell was going on here, there and everywhere, and, you know, making sure that I wasn't saying things that conflicted other things, you know. So that was quite tricky. And then when the War Doctor came along, having to then go back into my scripts and kind of... I don't want to say, it wasn't really rewriting them, but twisting dialogue and stuff, and other bits and pieces in such a way, well, and of course writing The Dreams of the Doctor, which was never planned. The Dreams of the Doctor was written specifically because of the War Doctor, which I'm sure you all gathered when you watched it. I didn't suddenly think, you know what, I'm going to create a War Doctor in an alternate timeline. He's going to be played by John Hurt. Yeah, so it was tricky. It was a challenge, but I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I think it is probably the best things. Some of them are probably the best things I've ever written, and I am incredibly proud of the way the arcs worked and how the episodes connect. I am proud of that. So yes, it was good fun, and it was a challenge. So Oliver Price asks, what inspired you? How long does it take to write scripts, and where do you get all your ideas from? What inspired me? Lots of different things. Like I said, well, the Time War was the inspiration for this one. What inspired me outside of that? Not sure, really. The Star Wars Clone Wars, not the TV series, because I've never really seen it. But, well, I guess I have, the original cartoon before it went CGI. That kind of thing, that, you know, big scale, going to lots of different planets and stuff, and, you know, oh, there's Daleks' occupations here, and here. So that's why you get these bits at the beginning of Gates of Elysium, where you see them all these different planets and all these different aliens getting killed and stuff. There's like, it was to show that, you know, this war has been going on for a long time, and it's happening everywhere. It's going across all of time and space. Everyone is involved. So I guess that was kind of an inspiration, but only a little bit. Where do I get my ideas from? That's a hard question. All sorts of different places, really. You know, sometimes you'll just hear something, you'll watch a TV show and you'll think, oh, that's a nice idea, and you'll alter it and change it, or you'll read something, or you'll hear about something, or something will be said in the news, and you'll think, I wonder what if, you know, the other day I was at work. Here's a good example. I was at work, and I was doing this course at work where we had to watch some YouTube videos, and I think the YouTube video was from Vsauce, and something that he said in this video, a scientific thing about the Earth, a light bulb went off above my head, and I thought, ooh, I wonder if that is actually a viable thing that could be done in a Doctor Who story or something. Unfortunately, when I then asked Catherine if it was possible, she's like, no, because as soon as something like that happened, all life on Earth would die instantly. I was like, well, that's buggered that then. So yeah, it's just anything. Anything inspires me, really. So just, yeah, it's hard to say what inspires me or where I get my ideas from. But all sorts of places, all walks of life. Ruben Roper asks, how did you make the Dark Eyes custom Paul McGann figure, and why did I want to use his own ensemble from the audios? Well, the figure was just made with a standard 8th Doctor figure, nothing else. It just had a lot of trimming to the coat, the shirt and waistcoat was removed, the hair was removed, that was all resculpted with Milliput, the coat was mainly resculpted with Milliput, all the collar and the shirt and stuff. And the bag, the satchel, that came from a Primeval figure, just by chance. I wasn't actually 100% sure whether or not I was going to make this figure originally. And I bought this job lot of Primeval figures because I thought, well, you know, I'm always using them in Doctor Who. And they were good custom fodder as well. And as I was looking through this bag, there was this little satchel. And I was like, oh wow. And I tried it with the 8th Doctor, the normal one. I was like, oh yeah, it's a perfect fit. And I was like, oh right, well, I got the bag. I best had make this figure then. And that was it really. But the reason why I wanted to do it was because, you know, the 8th Doctor couldn't fight in a big war in a velvet frock coat and a waistcoat and a cravat. That would just be daft. So that was the reason why I thought, well, you know, let's give him something a bit more interesting, something a bit more practical. And I thought it would be quite cool because I don't think anyone's really done a story or done an animation yet on YouTube with a Doctor where they've done a classic Doctor in their own costume. So I'm pretty sure that my series is really the only series that's got Dark Eyes Paul McGann in. At least for now. I'm sure many people will go on to make their own. Ian Thomas McLean, how do you think of ideas, or do I have any ideas, that I really liked that had to be cut? There wasn't. Well, there was an original idea. The original idea of this is a. Oh, just dropped my my power ring because I am a member of the Green Lantern cause. I'm just fiddling around with it. I was originally, when I started sorting out the series, I did plan that the Axon story. There wasn't going to be an Axon story, or was there going to be an Axon story? No, there wasn't going to be an Axon story. I don't think. And the original plan was that there was going to be a Sontaran story and an Ice Warrior story, which obviously they became the same thing. But originally the Sontaran story was going to be set on Earth and it would have the Brigadier in it, which obviously didn't happen. And originally Grace was going to be in Rebirth, and Rebirth was incredibly different to the Rebirth that you saw. Obviously Rebirth was all set on Gallifrey. Rebirth was originally going to have bits of it set on Earth. Which I'm so glad I didn't do in the end, because I wrote the first episode and I finished writing it and I just thought, this really sucks, and I just deleted it and thought, right, let's start again. But actually a few of the scenes from Rebirth, from the original Rebirth, actually are in the Rebirth that you saw. The stuff in the Panopticon with Romana at the start and the stuff in the TARDIS is all very similar. Daniel Peterson. Did you rewrite parts of Miller and I? And also, what happened to Romana? Yes, Daniel. Obviously, the bit I had to... I rewrote a couple of bits, actually, in Miller and I. Originally, that scene with the War Doctor, that was going to be the first Doctor. And there was just a little exchange, and he was just going to have a chat with Lucy. So that was rewritten to feature the War Doctor. I think he was basically saying the same lines. It wasn't too different. I then went back and rewrote it again and made it longer so that we had all this stuff about him recognising Lucy, because of course the Big Finish universe and the TV universe are now one and the same, so it made sense that the War Doctor would look at Lucy Miller and go, oh my god, Lucy. So that was why I added that in. What else did you ask? Oh, there were some other changes actually in that story. I think the fourth Doctor was also going to appear in that story towards the end. But instead I just thought, nah, this is just getting ridiculous having all these Doctors pop up. So I just kept it as the 8th Doctor, which I'm glad about. Not quite a rewrite, but the inclusion of Dalek Alpha and the Children of the Revolution comic book, 8th Doctor. That was just when the toy was announced. I just thought, oh, I haven't started filming that episode yet. Well, you know, I'm referring back to the comics and all these different alternate timelines. He can change into his comic book costume. So that was not a rewrite, but just a quick production change. What happened to Romana? I kept Romana's... well, whatever happened to Romana, I kept that very vague, because you see her disappear, but you don't know where she ends up. So she could have ended up back on Gallifrey, in which case she was there when it was, well, under attack. Or, you know, maybe the White Guardian whisked her away somewhere else and she's out in the universe safe. The reason why I did that originally was because when it was like that this was going to be the definitive Time War before all this War Doctor stuff, the original plan was, yeah, let's have it so that Romana, we don't know what happens to her, just in case she actually comes back in the new series. Obviously, with the whole time being rewritten thing, it didn't really matter in the end, so I probably should have just had her materialise on Gallifrey and get shot by a Dalek or something, but never mind. Enough people have died in that series. Sam Campling, how long does the production for one episode take? Would you prefer writing or editing? I prefer the writing. How long does it take? A long time. Month or two to film it, to edit it all. Yeah, about a month or two. Maybe, yeah. Some episodes longer than others. Like I said at the start, stuff like Gates of Elysium and Miller and I took an incredibly long time because of the effects. So that was almost like a month just doing that, just editing it. Philip Archer. Hello, Philip. Do you think you will return to adventures with the Second Doctor and companions? Not at the moment, but, you know, never say never. If they release a Yeti, or if they release some sort of figure from the 60s, from his era, then yes, I might come back and do something. You know, I would like to do some more Second Doctor stuff one day, but not for the time being. So, you know, fingers crossed that they might make some toys. Oh, yes, here we go. Jonathan Carley. Hello, Jonathan, our very own White Guardian. Aside from the hard drive failure, what part of the production process are you glad is over, be it regular process or just particular setup? Also, what part of the production process are you going to miss most? Well, I'll answer the last question. I'm going to miss writing. I always enjoy the writing side of things. I will miss writing Doctor Who. What production process? The laser effects. Oh no, actually, I tell a lie. Dalek blinking lights when they speak. That is the worst thing ever. You know, rotoscoping the light to make it fit the bloody bulb on the head and getting it to flash in time, cutting it all so it all works in time. Ugh. It is just like, you just want to shoot yourself at the end of it. I am never doing anything with Daleks ever again. Not unless they're full scale and they've got proper switches inside. Yeah, so that and the laser fire, rotoscoping that and animating it. There probably is a better way of doing it, probably in some sort of effects program like After Effects or something. But I'm not clever enough for all that, so I'm doing it the old-fashioned, crap, laborious way. Oh, and another one from Jonathan. How much did Day of the Doctor, Night of the Doctor impact on the storylines? It didn't affect it an incredible amount because the stories themselves were relatively unchanged. The only thing that was really changed was that little sequence in Miller and I. Everything else was kept exactly the same. The only thing that was altered was, from the final days anyway, was at the end where you have that bit of music on the radio which was from Horror of Glam Rock. And the reason why I added that rather than a normal piece of 70s music like Billy, because Billy recorded that live on the radio, Billy Garrett John, he was live on air at his university radio station and he recorded that whilst he was live and everyone thought he was mad. Him and his co-host, they thought, what on earth are they talking about, 2005? They drunk on drugs? What? And he actually put a bit of 70s music with it. But the reason why I chose to replace that with Children of the Revolution, Children of Tomorrow, was because it was to say that where the Ninth Doctor has woken up now, this isn't the same universe. This is now the TV universe, and the Eighth Doctor, Big Finish audio stories, they're all canon. So it was to show that this Ninth Doctor isn't the Ninth Doctor that we've just seen the Doctor regenerate into. This is the Ninth Doctor of the TV series. Because the Ninth Doctor that Paul McGann in my series begins to regenerate into doesn't ever have a regeneration of his own, because the Key to Time rewrites it and brings him back to his 8th incarnation so he can meet his other self. Oh, I don't know. I'm getting into Stephen Moffat waffly crap territory here. But the only thing that was really changed was the Dreams of the Doctor was written. And there were 2 versions of that. But then that was the first version was much shorter and only really featured Eccleston. And then I decided, nope, forget that. Let's do something with the War Doctor and get him more involved. And so that's why I did that. So, yeah, otherwise the actual stories themselves were untouched. Oh, Simon Downey, he asks, what story or stories are you most proud of? In terms of production quality, I'm quite proud of a lot of them. I really like the final days. I think it looks quite nice. Miller and I like the script for that. I like the script for Final Days, actually. Yeah. I'm pretty happy with all of them. The only ones that I'm not so fussed about are probably... actually, War Drums looks very good. But that's thanks to Chris Clark. That's nothing to do with me. Yeah. So quite a few of them I was quite pleased with. And Nathan Ward, good old Nathan, he asks, what's the longest you've spent shooting without a break? Well, Nathan, probably about 4 or 5 hours without a break, which is mad. But sometimes I've had to work with sets that can only be up for an evening, and it's like, you have to get this done. So even when the battery runs out in the camera, he's like, forget that, plug it into the mains, keep going. Yeah, so about 4 hours, and it's shattering. And I'm sure I'm going to have plenty of that to come when I go on to do He-Man later in the month, this month, hopefully. But yes, there we are. Those are the questions. So thank you ever so much for watching the series. Thank you for watching this video. I hope I answered as many questions as I possibly could. A lot of them were duplicate, so I'm sorry, but I'm sure if you oh dear, I'm dead now. I'm sure if you asked the same question, you will have got the answer you required. So yes, so thank you very much. Thank you for all of your support during this series. It's been absolutely incredible. It's been such fun waking up on a Saturday morning and then going to check the comments, check the views, see how the videos are getting on, and just seeing the response has just been amazing. Absolutely amazing. I've been absolutely thrilled. So thank you. You've made me a happy chappy after all this hard work. So thank you to all of you for watching. Thank you for everyone who is involved. Voice actors, animators, you know, all of you. Ned Warren for his amazing music. Cloister Productions for his really fantastic opening titles. Just thank you to everyone. It's been absolutely incredible. So thanks for watching this series, and thank you ever so much for the past 7 years of animation support. It's been incredible. It really is overwhelming. Just amazing. I could never have imagined that it would get this big, this popular. And you know, here's to He-Man and the Masters of the Universe coming soon later in this year. And you never know, maybe the Good Doctor will return. Billy Garrett John asked me the other day, sort of said, I can't remember how he asked it, but he said something along the lines of, oh, so that's it now. No more Doctor Who videos, no more Doctor Who animations, no more action figure adventures. And I just said to him, you may well think that, but I couldn't possibly comment.